I decided to erase part A. Burnt on the inside. And I'm going to show you a little bit more of all this. And that tree is unburned going up, but highly burnt at the top. The top has turned to black charred. So it started sizzling it like from the top down after it went all the way up through that tree. Also going to show you this over here, another burn from the inside out evidence. So whatever's doing this has some awesome power. Awesome power. And you can see it on all of them, burn from the inside out. When it focuses, you can. This one, again, it's inside out, but you can see a deep hole here. Maybe from the angle I'm getting it at, you can't. A deep hole here, unburned here, so it sporadically burns it deeper here. Now this one is cool. I mean, you can see the outer ring of the tree where it was, an inner core that remains unburned. So it's like it sizzled all of this out. This is all gone. Right over to here. That's where the edge of the tree was. Circular pattern. There's the remaining piece here. You can see how burnt this is. So it's like lightning. Lightning only burns at the point of entry and exit. So if a lightning strikes you in the head and goes out through your feet, it'll leave a burn spot on your head and on your feet and leave the middle part unburned. If it would focus, that's what I'm trying to show you here, but it doesn't seem to want to. Yeah, so it doesn't want to focus. But you can see the very core here is unburned. The top here is highly burned. Everything in the middle is gone. And the outside burned. Which is what would have happened here if it would have continued. But it grounded more on that one than this one. The remaining core here is very interesting. The unburned core that's left beneath that highly burned spot is very telling of what this is and how it works. So I'd say a lot of these pine trees are doomed. That one's got the sizzle burn right up the center there, because a lot of them have this blackened bark, but they still have the pine needles up top. Like that one, for instance. It's all blackened. And as you go up, it's less and less blackened, but it still has pine needles at the top. This one, however, over here at the top, you can see it's got that charcoal checkerboard look to it. Unblackened in the middle all the way down. So it's just very odd the way these burn patterns end up turning out. This one gives a little more evidence of how it burns from the inside out. The outside here is unburned. The inside is gone, other than over here. And again, like that other one that had the unburned center post, I'm not sure how or why that works. But that's how it works. So from there, I'll go over here and get a few glimpses of these, because I can see that one's got the same thing, this one's got the same thing, unburned here, and burned all through the center. This one here, you can see the same thing, burned from the inside out, burned from the inside out. This one as well, unburned on the outside, electrified from the inside. Just to top it off with a little bit more of that country gravy for your brain. These all bear the same resemblance. The uneven burn pattern. The inside out burn pattern. Not sure whether most of these were chopped before or after the fire, but all these little stumps along the ground all bear the same resemblance. Gravy, gravy everywhere. Go over here and check out some of these stumps. They all have the same burn pattern. And then I'll try and find something else. There's got to be something else going on here. What I am noticing is you can tell the difference between the blackened ones and the unblackened ones. This one's blackened at the bottom. Maybe it's a different kind of tree. That one's blackened at the bottom. And you can see some are red, have a red bark, and the others have black bark. Not sure if that's the ones that got untouched by the electricity. Or if that's a different kind of pine tree with a different colored bark. That one off in the distance, you can see the black at the bottom. Black at the bottom of this one, and black at the bottom of this one. All these black lines going up the tree, those are the burn pattern of the electricity. And as I'm running out of battery, this will just about conclude our country gravy brain food breakfast of the morning. But as you can see, this one burnt at the middle. This one burnt in the middle. How come you can't get your hot dogs to cook like that? They always burn from the outside in. Oh, that's right, because they're done with fire and this was done with electricity. Like the microwave. The microwave cooks your food from the inside out. And that's much more like what happened here. And that's why James Grundig says sunspots and cell towers produce these fires. He may be incomplete or completely incorrect, but I think he's much closer than anyone who identifies fire as the cause of what we're seeing here. It's more like microwaves. And it's coming from the ground up. Bzzz. This one gives us another pretty good look at the burn lines that go up the tree and weave their way in between the bark. And then pop out the end of the branches, as you can see right here. Unburned, burned here, burned here. If the lighting would work with me. There you go, you can kind of see how it kind of pops out the end of the branch and sizzles it off right here. Now the lighting's really not working with me. There you go. This wavy line that goes up the branch right here, highly burned here and unburned there, is a result of the electricity that's flowing through the tree as it's burning. And it didn't necessarily even bust into flames. There was not necessarily a flame that came out of that. Just like when the guy in the electric chair who got the death sentence, and he's sitting in the electric chair and they hit the voltage to him and he starts to smoke and the skin on his head turns black and charcoaled, but he never bursts into flames. That's what's happening here. That's why James calls it field activated combustion synthesis. There's never actually any combustion. It just sizzles to a crisp. And that's why there's so much smoke. These fires produce 90% more smoke than the average fire. Because just like at a campfire, when you're blowing on it, trying to get the flame to pop, it's smoking and smoking and smoking until that flame combusts and then the smoke goes away. Well, in these fires, flame never combusts. It just sizzles and smokes. And they use that smoke as part of their weather modification technology to send the next storm to somewhere else. Just like chemtrails, well, they throw it back up in the air when they make some of these trees smoke. The same chemtrails that came down, absorbed through the roots and into the bark, go back up into the air when they sizzle it up. And because it never actually combusts into a flame, it just sizzles from the high amount of electricity that centers on the knots, as I've talked about before. It produces so much more smoke than a regular fire that they use that as part of their weather modification technology. And that's how we end up seeing burn patterns like this. Okay, this really will be the final gravy. See the unburned here and the burn there? This used to be a tree, that big around. Highly burned on the inside, right up to there. This is the way I found it. This piece right here used to be standing, just like the rest of this. As part of this circumference of this tree. But then it fell down on the inside. It's unburned on the outside. Highly burned on the inside. And here's, for size reference, that's my leg. So this was about a 4-foot round tree. Hollowed out. Sizzled away. And so it goes on and on and on it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. You see that tree in the distance over there that's leaning? I've got a pretty good idea why it's leaning. I'll bet I can go kick it the rest of the way over. Same with this one. Let's go look at the bottom of that. Not sure on this one where it was rooted, but that one I'm gonna go. Okay, here is the leaning tree and all the burnt wood, and yes, it's all the same stuff. And I'm gonna try and hurry and use the rest of my battery to go check this tree out next to it, because yeah, the reason that's leaning is because the roots got hit with the plasma. This one, boom, all over. There we go. Here, we got good lighting from this side. So you can see it's cored out right here, right up to here is where it ends, but right here, oh, that was a lizard ran out of there when I stuck my hand in. It's that deep. That lizard scared the crap out of me. And that would be why this one's leaning at about a 20-30 degree angle. This one smoked all the way up. Sizzle, sizzle. For rizzle ma nizzle. But again, this whole thing could have burned just like you see it without a single flame. Massive amounts of electricity did this. And you can see this piece of wood over here ain't even burned. Untouched, unburned, hanging off the top of that right there. Attached right there. Bizarre, huh? Totally bizarre. Caw! Caw! Crows don't mind. And if it's good enough for the crows, it's good enough for me. Just to give you depth perception, how cored out that is, that's how deep it went. And you can see the unburned here and here, but it sizzled it out from the inside. That deep. And this line right here is another prime example of what fire does not do, and why there's a good chance there was never even a single flame when this tree, quote unquote, burned. So on and on and on it goes. This one's another good example. Burned on the inside here. Come on, weeds. Burned on the inside.